the dad in the original Amityville.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's that same vibe, but in the 2005 one, right?
Oh, the one who lost $1,500.
No.
What a fucking wild plot.
Wait, nephew. I wish they had put that in the 2005 one because
it would be great.
Just for inflation, it'd be like $3,000.
My Amity Horrorville. It sounds like Amity Horrorville Taylor's version or something.
Yeah.
A man getting bit by an alligator screamed.
Swallow this.
Welcome back to the pod, everybody.
It's our first not welcome back.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this charade you're trying to pull.
Technically, we've recorded a bunch of stuff that we never put out. So for us, welcome back.
Yeah.
Not
We
for
watched
them.
Talk to Me, and Zach screamed.
Yeah.
That was nice.
In anger, not in fear.
Thanks for finally joining us.
Yeah. I'm Zach Bennett, stand-up comedian and podcaster as of today.
Rey Reyes.
Join with me or my co-host. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, boys.
Rey Reyes. How we doing? I don't know what camera to look at.
I feel like this one's mine and that one's yours.
That one's closest to you. Your face is like right up in there.
I'll look at this one then.
I'm back with my co-host, stand-up comedian and podcaster Rey Reyes.
Yeah, baby.
And, of course, stand-up comedian and podcaster Sean Dolan.
Sean Dolan.
Oh, my God. It's you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me, Sean Dolan. Sorry.
That was such a delay.
It's the lag.
And our producer. A lot of podcasts don't have their producer on camera. Sometimes they'll cut to him, but we like to have our producer actually in the frame. That way they don't feel like they're like stuck in a booth or something.
I do everything. And I don't get paid.
Turner.
Oh, okay. We're talking about Turner. Well, I couldn't tell if you were pointing at me.
So funny. He thought we were talking about him. Fuck you. Oh, it's in like the first 10 minutes. All right. Well, we're going to have to bleep that out. Anyway.
Turner doesn't do much.
Well, he's the money. So
that's true. In the movie, and spoilers, the dog dies. One of them.
Yeah, there was a dog that died.
Yeah. Not in real life.
No.
We'll get to that in a minute. Today, on the pod, we are talking about the Amityville horror in honor of Father's Day.
Yeah.
I think
because the father murders everyone in one.
No.
Or he wants to.
It's great.
Hold on. So
I don't know if he wants.
The older brother did it.
How much Sean?
You know what? Can you please take it away? I'd like Zach to.
Wait, no. This is the best way to do this. In honor of Father's Day, we've decided that we're going to talk about the Amityville horror, the 1979 version versus the 2005 version. We were going to do Father's Day, the movie from Trauma, which is awful, but the poster art.
Yeah. Explain what Trauma is.
Presumably, if you're watching this podcast, you know what Trauma is. But Sean's right. You might not know what Trauma is.
I sure didn't.
The famous B horror, I would say punk rock vibe.
You didn't use that phrasing last time. I like that.
Yeah, it's definitely got a punk rock vibe to it. I think most horror does, but especially Trauma. But so today we're talking about the Amityville horror, the 79 version versus the 2005 version, and we're doing that in honor of Father's Day. I think we should talk about real quick. I think. Let's see. My dad's dead. Ray's dad's dead to him.
Yeah.
And and Sean's dad's alive though. So
retired.
Let's give it up for
retirement.
He's retired, which is great. Mine's retired from living.
I was gonna say, like, we're not so different.
Yeah, my dad retired a long time ago from being a good person,
from being a human being.
Yeah. I think he took an early retirement at the age of 17. Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna make it.
And retire. That's the beauty of retirement.
Yeah, it happens anytime.
Yeah, and it takes many shapes and forms.
Okay, so I wanted to just give the audience a little bit of initial context. If you're not familiar with the Amityville horror, in the mid-'70s, I believe it happened in 1975, was the initial incident, which was when there was a young man who killed his entire family.
For real.
For real, yes.
It happens a lot.
And somehow, this is what's crazy.
But this one was iconic.
This is what's crazy about these movies, right? There's been 11, I think it's 14 now. Yeah.
14?
14 counting spin-offs, remakes, elaborations, and that's not even counting the ones where people just use, because you can't, Amityville's a place.
Right,
so you can't copyright Amityville as your own, right? So you can only copyright those characters and that story,
so some of them are actually about the murder, some of them aren't.
Right. So
and not a single one captures a Long Island accent.
Which is insane.
Is that true?
The only people Amityville is in Long Island, New York. And the only films to ever actually capture the Long Island accent that all of these people really had is the documentaries, because they interview their friends and family and the actual people involved.
Why do you think that is? I think it's like too scary.
It's just Hollywood.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, no, I think like you're trying to make a scary movie. It's not as scary to be like, hey, fucking the ghosts, they keep telling me to murder my family over here.
Oh man,
I thought it was the opposite. I thought they were just they were like, hey, the audience isn't ready for this. The general public thinks Long Island's safe.
Oh, God, all these ghosts just won't shut the fuck up. Like, I can't get any goddamn sleep.
That's really
the kids keep fucking yapping. I'm doing tons of acid.
And I'm like, no, someone protect that man.
when they interviewed the guy who actually killed his family, Butch DeFeo was the guy who actually, he was the son that killed his mother, his father, and his siblings. That guy, when he was in jail, he was like, so initially they were trying to get him an insanity plea bargain, right?
Yeah.
Which, so that he wouldn't have to go to actual prison or get the death penalty or anything. So in 2000, they did like an updated documentary, or maybe it was 2002, I think, and they did like a Nightline, like special, and they interview him in prison, and he basically was just like, "Yeah, I made all that up. None of that's true." And then he basically was like, "Yeah, we were trying to get a plea bargain for me." So like,
yeah.
And then,
oh, did you fucking believe it? That's how fucking good I am. I tell you what, I was spewing off nonsense.
Yeah. He goes, "I was drunk and on heroin." That's what he said.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. Oh, that's not why.
Why?
I mean, there's probably
fighting. How
you don't kill six people because you're tired.
Yeah.
Or on heroin.
Heroin makes you very sick.
Let's demonize heroin users right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everybody always says like imagine like the best you've ever felt coming, and then like multiply that by like 1,000. That's heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And
well, no, heroin addicts get violent after the heroin is done.
Yeah.
Like when there's no heroin left.
No, they go into withdrawals. They get sick. So you wouldn't you wouldn't want to go murder people. You'd be like,
yeah, but when they're
that's pretty sick. Are you saying it's not sick
on heroin, they're also just like nodding off.
Yeah, you don't fall asleep.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
You don't go shoot your whole family while you're.
Yeah, while you're on heroin.
So it had nothing to do with that. Why did he do it?
Oh, he was basically he blames it on drugs and alcohol.
Okay. So we don't know.
But many people do drugs and alcohol, and now there are people who become violent when they do other drugs. It was his friend said that he had done cocaine and stuff like that, and he might have had some kind of cocaine-induced psychosis that can make you more violent. But the initial murders of the Defoe family, there is no definitive answer to why all that happened. But the guy who did it said that there was no paranormal activity that made him kill his family.
Oh, so now you believe him.
Yeah, that's a great point. He's
maybe the house demons are telling him, "Oh, we take it back, lie to him."
That's true. Yeah.
We don't want people to catch on. We want people to keep renting this house.
Yeah,
and they insisted.
Yeah, the ghosts are like, we can't let the property value go down, and then we don't know what. I don't want to possess a person of color.
That's 100%. It would be the neighbors. Are these black ghosts or white ghosts? So there's no definitive answer about why Butch DeFeo murdered his entire family.
Yeah.
But that's the initial story. And the craziest part about the Amityville movies and books and documentaries and all this stuff, I mean, there's hundreds of hours of content about this and novels and fan fiction. There's everything you can imagine you can read about.
Well,
very little of it is actually about the murders.
Right.
The guy who murdered, that's insane. That's how
what's it about?
That's how good publicity was. The movies we watch were about a family who moved in to a haunted house. Instead of, it was only a year after.
Yeah.
It was 1 year. I think.
And then all the fan fiction is about Butch DeFeo fucking the ghost.
Is it really?
And I'm not gonna lie, I read a little bit, pretty hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do this. We're on two sides of different dimensions.
Wait, was the ghost a house?
I mean,
What? What, dude?
you could interpret it. They even talked about it. The family that moved in later, the ones that the Amityville Horror is about.
Yeah.
You know, they did talk about it in a sense, saying like the house didn't want us to leave.
Yeah, it's like Smart House, but evil.
Yeah.
If you've
But
ever
it's
seen
also
the
lonely,
Disney Channel original movie, it reminds me a lot of that. Well, because I'll tell you what, in the movies that we watched, it was always, they always saw dead children and whatnot. Like,
Yeah.
but what did Bush see, or whatever his name was? You know, Bush.
Yeah.
Bush.
Well, Butch.
Butch was the guy that killed his family.
Butch. Oh, that's ironic.
That's what I feel like Smart House is. It's
His name is literally Butch.
yeah.
It's foreshadowing.
Smart House is just Amityville horror fan fiction.
Butch, like you Bush. What? Wait, say it again. Say it again. I'm sorry. I want to hear you.
Oh, Smart House is just Amityville fan fiction.
Oh, well,
These are
it did come
fucking
out
nuts.
after. It did come out. Yeah.
Fan fiction's always about love.
Wait, hold on. I had a point there that I just want to say that we never saw. We don't know. He didn't see obviously the dead children, right? Butch.
What do you mean?
But Butch later said that there was no paranormal activity. Of
No,
any
but in
kind.
his original account, when he was lying,
Right, and when
what did he see?
He said he heard voices, that there was demonic possession, all kinds of like the list. And well, that's the other thing is it changed over the years. At one point, he said that his sister helped him kill all of them, and then at one point he said two hitmen came in and he helped them kill all of them, and they left and he took the fall for it.
Right.
Like just
That one actually seems like, because like, how did he kill them all before they woke up?
right. Well, the
That's another like.
there's a very cheesy, terrible documentary. In terms of production value, it's terrible, but in terms of information, it's really interesting. But it's all about how the DeFeo family was actively participating in the 70s crime families of New York.
Oh shit!
Well,
Yeah,
So they were mobsters.
yeah.
Fucking, that's at a whole
Holy
new level.
shit.
The Butch
Dude.
DeFeo worked for his father,
Yeah.
who was like a part lackey for. Now I will
they really
say,
should have done the accents.
Yeah,
I know, dude.
that documentary nailed it. It
Changed
had
the tone completely.
Yeah. Now the issue with that documentary would be, it's not in any other documentaries, the information, so
Yeah.
it can't really be there. There's no way to be sure if the people that made that, if those sources were cited correctly. It could be just as untrue
Right.
as the family who basically all these years later, everyone has kind of said, total bullshit. Basically, the only person who says that any of that happened anymore is the son.
Yeah.
In 2021, I believe, they released a documentary called My Amityville Horror, and it's basically the stepson, the one that's like talking shit to the dad in the original Amityville.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's that same vibe, but in the 2005 one, right?
Oh, the
My
one who lost
Amity-
$1,500?
No.
What a fucking wild plot.
His nephew. I wish they had put that in the 2005 one, because they
Oh, it
would
would've been great.
just for inflation, it'd be like $3,000.
Miami Horrorville. It sounds like Amity Horrorville Taylor's version or something.
Yeah.
Miami horror fan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Miami Horrorville.
So the only
What do you say in that documentary?
the only person alive really that had like firsthand account of any of that stuff, because there's people who were like paranormal activity people who like went in and like studied it,
Yeah.
and they all
thank
say
God.
like, oh, we felt entities and all that stuff. But the only person who claims that any of the stuff that happened in the movies and in the book and all that stuff is basically the son who has a thick Long Island accent.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. If you watch that documentary, it's hard to not laugh because he's super intense and you feel his emotion and you can tell like he believes that this happened to him. But he also suffered a lot of abuse. He talks about like the father in it, how
to do it.
How they're like, oh, the house made him crazy. And the kid is like, that's one thing the movies got wrong. He was already abusive. Like it started that way and it ended that way and it continued.
More like the 2005 version. Because Ryan Reynolds just came out the fucking...
He started fine, but they didn't spend enough time establishing. There wasn't much subtlety.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I remember seeing that montage, and I saw Ryan Reynolds smile.
Yeah, he did smile.
That was it. He smiled. He did.
Yeah.
You can look. You can bring it. Roll the clip. Look at him smile. Look at him.
I'm not editing a clip in.
Go ahead and roll the clip.
So we are gonna contrast and compare the two films.
And you see him smile right there.
He's still on this thing. So we're gonna contrast and compare the two films, but I wanted to make sure we got all the information down, just to make sure that people understand the full backstory.
Yeah.
So Ronnie Butch DeFeo was 23, and when he murdered his whole family, that was November 13th, 1974.
1974. Remember that.
And then a year later,
we quizzed on it later.
Yeah.
1975. Now, a year later.
Mm-hmm.
So a year later,
after he murdered his family,
the family that all of the movies are based on, moved in
new family
to the Amityville Horror House.
Is that guy still making money off of that, like royalties?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the son is now. That's a good point. My father would have had it. I mean, hopefully he is. I mean, it's he talks about it. He's like, it ruined my life. He's like, everywhere I go, I'm the Amityville horror kid, even though he's like a grown man in his 50s now.
Right.
And he's like,
I don't believe him.
About
lots of lies going around.
About what?
I don't believe that it ruined his life.
Yeah.
You don't believe that it ruined his life?
No. How he's 50 years old. Has everyone recognized him as the Amityville horror kid?
Yeah.
I think he's full of shit.
Everyone in middle school called me STD. Nobody does anymore.
It's true.
What's your middle name, Sean?
Thomas.
Oh, because Sean Thomas Dolan. That's right.
People change.
People do change.
He can be so much more than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you guys do that? Would you move into the house a year later, like the families of these movies?
I think I would. Was the rent's cheap enough?
If a year ago, a guy murdered his whole family, because he said he saw. At this point, a year later, is he already saying, "Oh, because of the demons," or is it like, no?
Well, because that trial probably got dragged out. I'm assuming.
So before we jump into the film, or this will be the last thing that we can kind of cover about that.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lutz family that moved in there, spent 28 days there, and then got in their van and moved to the other side of the country. They just left. They didn't take most of their stuff. They just grabbed whatever they could and left the house, right? So one of the things, so that was in 1975, right? They bought the house a year after the murders because it was super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movies, they present it two different ways. In the 1979 version, they already know that the murders happened there, but they're just kind of going like, okay, well, we'll concede. In the 2005 version, they try and sell it like at the last minute. They're like shocked by, that's not how it happened. They 100% knew it was disclosed. And also they were like, anybody, it's like if you saw a brand new car, that was like $20,000 cheaper than it should be. You're like, what happened with this? Like, well, and then you find out like it's been through some stuff.
Well, did they know though? Did they like during the trial? Was the guy already saying, "Oh, the ghost made me do it"? The ghost house demons.
So the trial hadn't
started yet. All they know is that people died. They don't know why.
The trial, I believe what at that moment what was happening was the trial was beginning. Like he wasn't even. It wasn't even like a
I didn't even talk about it yet.
Right, or at least in the public discourse.
Yeah.
People wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, I lived there then.
So they left 28 days after moving into the house. So not even a full month. But this is the interesting thing. His lawyer, who was trying to sell the insanity plea, he found out that the family had gone and spoken to some people, to a priest, right? Because they had that whole thing, which they played up in the movies, of course. But they found this lawyer had found out that the family had moved in, was experiencing paranormal activity, right? And had called in the people from, is it Insidious? Or
Conjuring.
Conjuring, yeah.
Ed and Lorraine
the Warrens, yeah.
Yeah.
So when he found out that like those people or that type, I don't think the Warrens had come around at that point, but he found out that
No, they were. I remember hearing about them showing up at Amityville.
well, so what was happening was the lawyer found out that they were reaching out to people about paranormal activity in the house, and then the lawyer figured, hey, this would be great because you can't sway a jury outside,
he got ideas
right, with outside perceptions, right?
Yeah.
However, if life just happens to present those things, right, and people find out about it, then you change it in the public's mind, right?
Yeah.
So his lawyer was one of the people who really helped push and initially was trying to have a book deal, not to sell the rights to the story about their haunting. So the whole reason that you have these movies is because the family that went through the haunting, right? That family got together with a lawyer and they were going to write a book, and at the last minute they ditched the lawyer and then they went and got an actual author that would be able to get a publishing deal very easily.
This all feels like a giant money laundering scheme.
100%. Yeah. It's all bullshit, almost certainly.
Yeah.
It's very likely that they experienced some kind of paranormal activity. However,
Maybe.
I mean, it's certainly there. If there is that kind of thing in the universe or whatever, like ghosts or whatever, certainly there would be some dark energy around that house.
The place that the guy murdered his whole family.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the lawyer. Now you could say he was scorned from like not being able to get the book deal with them, and was trying to get back at him. But he basically was like, yeah, we sat down, we went through like 3 bottles of wine together and just started talking about their experience. And the more they talked about it, the more they started to extrapolate. And by the end of the night, the story was this house gives us weird vibes. And by the end of the night, it was the walls are bleeding. There's green ooze coming out.
Yeah, because there's 3 bottles of wine in it. It's like, I would tell you, like, the dynamite saw somebody walking in my kitchen. No, you didn't. Oh, turned out it was my wife. But
my daughter, she's got an imaginary pig.
She talks about this big all the time. Says it's got red eyes. I don't know. Maybe put that in the book.
So before we hop into the contrasting and comparing the two films, Sean, do you believe in paranormal activity? Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe?
Dude, I'm on the fence.
You know?
I just, they haven't done enough to convince me.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Honestly, like, I don't.
I like how you're talking about it like political parties. I'm actually waiting to see what their plan is.
Yeah.
I'm like Ohio on ghosts, I'm like, I could see myself getting haunted, but I don't know. For me, I'm just like, I'm too skeptical about it. I make a lot of random noises.
Yeah.
I usually can be like, oh, that's the pipes. Because you know how pipes are. Come on, we all know how pipes are.
Yeah, pipes are noisy. They're noisy.
They're noisy.
It is usually the pipes.
Yeah.
Or the floor.
How many times I'm watching a movie and I'm like, look at the goddamn pipes.
That's why I like the idea of a scary house.
Because it's got pipes.
Because I'm like, well, maybe it is the pipes, but that doesn't mean it's not a ghost.
All right, so...
You're just sitting in your couch and you're like, hey, pipe down.
No. It's because I know what he's saying. You don't get it.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to hop into contrasting and comparing these two films.
Wait, why do you only want to know me? What about you guys? Do you guys believe in ghosts?
Yeah, I mean it sounds like we're all on the same page, right?
Oh,
Yeah, I got to see it. I got to see it.
We're all open to the idea.
I do
of
feel
ghosts.
energies like when we walk into certain places, like places just kind of feel heavier.
Yeah.
Like we've been at a couple places in New Orleans that I was just like, oh, this place feels weird.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like, I don't know, it's musky, musk air.
Yeah.
It's fucking heavy. You're like, well, something happened here.
Humidity?
Maybe.
Yeah, this is body odor and stuff.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I feel that.
Gross.
No.
So Sean,
Yeah.
we watched both films. 2005,
Which one do I like?
starring Ryan Reynolds. Arguably,
Oh, sorry.
Awful movie.
I was going to say arguably the 2005 version really did well because of Ryan Reynolds, who was
he
seen
big?
Well, he was seen as a comedic actor only at that time.
Wow.
And really still is, I mean, to some extent, but you would never argue that. But now I think it's to the point where you go like, oh, he can do both.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most important movie of Ryan Reynolds' career. The 2005 Amityville horror.
I could believe if you'd asked him, he'd say the same. Yeah.
I think so.
I think it was a mutually beneficial situation. The Amityville was revamping the story because at this point it had been through, I think they were on like their 7th sequel.
I bet if you walked into Ryan Reynolds' house, the first thing you see is a giant Amityville horror poster. I mean, it's the bro he's most proud of.
It's probably his rug.
Yeah, and
I think we should make that. Let's someone find his address
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds.
so we can ask him that.
Does he live in Los Angeles?
I don't know that, but that's the thing. Distance isn't an issue.
Sure,
I'll go
I know.
links to.
Pull up Ryan Reynolds' ad.
But you were gonna say that what did I like?
Well, I was going to say, so the 2005 one arguably made more money than probably all of them combined compared to the budget. The budget was $19 million, and it made over $100,000 worldwide.
Yeah. It's so as long as you got Ryan Reynolds with his shirt off, you're fucking
He did have his shirt off.
100 million easy.
Well, and I think what sold that so well
Ryan
was,
shredded.
yeah, he was completely
he's fucking-
for no reason.
So ripped.
It was nice to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm not. It's not even. It's just it was like man, you can see every inch of the male form.
Yeah. At its peak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
You
sculpture.
can watch that movie on silent.
Now we should
I
say
didn't even know there was volume. Volume.
now we should say James Brolin, who I believe is Josh Brolin's dad, if I'm not mistaken. James Brolin, the lead actor in the '79 film, he was also like a heartthrob. At the time. Like, yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah.
like smoldering, like dark and handsome.
Yeah, he was like a hot Bob Ross. That's not to say he's not a hot.
Bob Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ross is a good looking
He's a good
Most of
looking guy.
the '70s, like you were either a hot Bob Ross or an ugly Bob Ross.
Yeah, Bob Ross is sort of like
the Bob Ross
Yeah, he was the center.
Or you were Mexican.
Mexican Bob Ross.
Mexican Bob Ross.
Mexican Bob Ross was hard to pull off. I did for Halloween one year. But.
So the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes for both of these differs a little bit. The '79 version has a much higher audience score because it's seen as like a classic, and it was released in '79, so it's like right after Halloween. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of like slasher.
Oh, I thought you meant. I was like, what are you talking about? Was it Halloween started in '78? But you meant the movie.
Yeah.
Halloween is super new.
dude, at 1978 when Halloween was invented, they're like, we gotta make a movie for this.
It was just some guy who was just like, he just had way too much candy. It was like, we gotta start moving this candy, dude.
That's so funny.
And he gave it to his whole block.
Yeah.
That was,
You gotta buy the candy and then give it away to kids. That's why you buy them a bulk.
I didn't know that. So yeah, 1978, Halloween was first made.
Well, so for the horror genre, I mean,
The holiday.
because the '70s was when the horror genre actually was birthed. Because before that, you would just call it a monster movie. There wasn't really. It was like a suspense thriller, or there was a monster movie. Horror itself wasn't really a thing. So, because you would had in '74, I believe, was when Texas Chainsaw came out, '73 or '74. You had Black Christmas was '73, I believe. And then Halloween, and there's a few others in the '70s, but like really Halloween was like in the public's mind, that was the main slasher movie.
Yeah, that was the birth of the slashers, baby.
Yeah. So, and then you had '73 was The Exorcist.
Yeah.
So they kind of were capitalizing this story capitalized on the buildup of horror becoming a genre in the 70s and then being released. So the 1979 version, I would argue, in my personal opinion,
important.
it's an important film, and it's a much better made film than the 2005 one, because by the time we got to 2005, horror had become such an established thing, and there were the 2000s really didn't have, unless you were doing like indie stylized stuff, like corporate money and like big budget stuff started to come in, and people started to make kind of boring, just flat feeling horror, because they were just like, oh, we can just put in a bunch of jump scares and get some famous people.
Yeah.
Name one of those.
The Nun.
Okay.
Was
The
that
whole movie's a jump scare. Like, it's not, there's no substance. So like,
I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
There's more than one.
of the
Yeah,
well, the
there's
Nun's
like
is
three,
a
I think.
spin-off of like
The Conjuring series. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Conjuring verse.
I've seen Conjuring, I think just the first one. Is there two?
There's three of them.
Okay, I might have
And
seen the
there's the
second one.
Annabelle series.
Did not know there was a third for
And
sure.
Insidious.
so I think we can all
Insidious I
agree.
like.
Insidious is good, yeah.
Yeah. They're not
seen that.
or that universe.
They
I
feel
just
the same.
they do feel the same.
But I think we can all agree the 1979 version is just so much better of a film. Like,
Yeah, it was way better.
I mean,
Still
It had its
not
quirks.
great,
No,
but
it was-
yeah. But like if we're talking in comparison, yeah, way better.
Also,
yeah.
I live in the year 2024.
Sure.
So, I don't know. 1979, I was like, dude, I don't know.
Good
You
point.
give me a camera now, I couldn't do better. I couldn't do better, but it's the fact that
also,
I
like, way
have
harder
the
to shoot a
potential.
film.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I judge them for that.
you judge them on what they were.
Well,
living
no,
in.
it's like I didn't know the context of like how early it was.
Sean goes back in time to help with the set, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Why are we not using iPhones?"
I will show them the Nun and be like, dude, this. It's way too rigid. There's too many ups and downs.
Oh,
Like a flat.
So when they interviewed the producer of the 2005 one, they said their main thing was they were concerned less with the specifics of the original story, and because the original story was the family and this author writing
Yeah.
this book together, and then selling the rights to have a movie made. This 2005 version, they literally were like, we're trying to make a horror movie first, and then whatever happens to work out from the true story
Right.
works out. So they were not attempting to do justice to the story because they felt like the 79 version was already that. But naturally, the surviving family members were all sort of like, nonsense. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also like, there's not a lot to fucking like really dive into. Like, some guy killed his family, and that's like what 20-minute event. Like, you can't make a full film on that.
it sounds like some abusive father who's like, I need to cover my tracks.
Yeah.
And so he made a movie.
Yeah.
They were like, we're gonna have to take you to court. And he goes, no, the ghosts.
The ghosts maybe do it.
They're here.
No, I like that you're like, he murdered his whole family. That's a 20-minute thing? It takes 20 minutes tops?
20 minutes tops.
And there's nothing we have to consider before or after. That's the whole story.
But that's what's so crazy about like the actual real life murders. It would be a really compelling movie to make, and somehow let this be a lesson in how easily people are duped into shit. There's been fucking 13 movies all about this family. Also, the feeling or the vibe of like, oh, I was haunted. Oh, sorry you didn't get murdered with 6 people. Thank you, dude. Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
you bought a house you couldn't afford to keep living in, and then you fucking
Left.
pretended ghosts were in it. Fuck
Yeah.
you. But anyway, so I think we could agree the 79 version, a better film, not only for its day, but even compared to the 2005 one. Like,
I like the narrative that we created that all the priests and nuns were drunk.
yeah,
The entire time, which was, if you watch that movie with that in mind, it's so fucking.
yeah. Out of context, the 1979 version, all the priests just seem like they're totally fucked up.
Yeah. They're like in the house sweating and shit. And
Like if you didn't
Go on
know
and
that
roll a
was
clip of that.
Like if you didn't know that those were that there was any ghosts involved, and they only cut the movie into the priest scenes, it would just look like shit-faced priest.
Didn't he just look like a shit-faced priest after we rolled that clip?
Jesus fucking.
Honestly, we might have to.
You might have to do
It's
it
too
now.
funny to
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be one pretty glaring thing.
Sean just out here giving me more editing.
I love it. The priests, there were so many more priests in general. They had more opportunities to get
Dude,
fucked
they
up.
had so many priests in that town.
In 2005, there was one guy,
I
and
mean, it's the Northeast, so
Yeah.
that's true.
I mean, there's fucking so many kids in that town. We're just getting it.
Yeah.
this movie was pushed by the Catholic Church to distract from all the kid fucking.
Yeah, those numbers must be high.
Do you want to check time on cameras? Make sure we're good.
Yeah.
Have we even? Oh my god!
Just make sure. I think we should have about 20 minutes left.
Here, while this is happening, go ahead and roll just a random. Ray, go ahead and roll your random,
20 minutes.
your most favorite clip of the both movies. Go ahead and roll that while this is going on.
All right. So
I'm gonna cut all this out.
yeah.
Go ahead and roll that clip. If you're cutting it out, go ahead and record yourself cutting.
Record myself editing it.
So I got to say, there was one cool thing. Probably the
Wait, what
only.
was it? I'm so sorry.
40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was something. I don't want to just shit on the 2005 one totally. Like you can tell that.
I've actively shit on both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But well, I mean, there are some parts that are like it's not like the actual production was that bad, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's well shot.
No, it's
Like-
a well shot movie.
Yes.
It looks good.
Yeah, the
Ryan
acting's not
Reynolds is
terrible.
fucking ripped.
Yeah, the acting's not terrible or anything. They just didn't give him very much to work with. Like they just made it I don't think the performances were flat. I think the script was flat because they were trying to make a haunted house movie. They weren't trying to show the character development of these people who were going through this horrific thing.
Yeah.
Which is why the first one's more centered around the family. Think about how much more we watched them.
Yeah.
Like it was.
I like the kid in the second one.
Yeah.
Second, why?
Mainly because
2005.
Yeah, because there was more like, I don't know, there was just more to it, you know. He was just like, fuck my stepdad.
Oh yeah, he was good.
He was good. I like
The other kid kept falling. Go ahead and roll that clip.
the kid falling. I'll roll that clip just because that shit is funny. He
did
fell
it
like
three
three
times.
times.
Oh man, yeah,
Three
the kid,
Like comically falling. Like it wasn't even like
yeah, not the older kid. He's like a 9-year-old, and he's just falling
he's
downstairs.
just falling down
I don't
steps.
think he had a stunt double or anything.
No.
That would just been another 9-year-old.
That kid had
That's impressive.
zero fucking survival instinct. It was bad.
But the one fall, because the one you could tell was like a stunt fall where they're like, "Hey, do this." But when the like blood is coming out of the walls at the end of the 79 version
And he
and like
falls.
down the steps, that kid fell down those
That
stairs.
kid, that kid fell
The
down.
director was like, "Keep rolling."
No, keep that in. Keep that in.
kid.
It's good.
So there is a little shout out for the 2005 one that's kind of cool though. They did a little homage to, or a little like tip of the hat to Halloween, where they did the point of view through a mask of the kid because the little kid's name is
Oh, for
Michael.
Halloween, yeah.
And so they look at him and they say Michael, and then they cut to the kid and he takes off the mask. That's the opening sequence to Halloween. Is he kills his babysitter or whoever.
And that's
Cheryl, older
only,
sister,
like
something like that.
fucking scene where that kid had any gravity at all. Like that, and everything else, he was just a fucking extra, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh damn, he was.
Yeah, I completely forgot about him until you brought that up, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. There was an extra kid in there.
Now
He could have been murdered,
Yeah,
and I wouldn't.
even paid attention.
It's like Home Alone.
They did that 2005 one did take a fucking leap of faith with murdering the dog.
Yeah, so the dog doesn't get murdered in the original.
No, you get saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also in real life, the dog tried to jump the fence and still had his leash on. Somebody forgot to take the leash off or something, and the leash got caught on the fence, and he was choking to death. And then the guy who, and then the son goes and he like untangled him. The son that in the documentary and everything.
Yeah.
That guy talks about it, you know.
That would make me believe in ghosts, actually. If I saw that happen, I was like, holy shit, is my dog trying to kill himself? What the hell? This house is haunted.
Suicidal.
I just feel like
That should have been the sequel. It's a suicidal dog, but it's like Look Who's Talking. You can hear the dog speak.
I just feel like this entire series is just based on making mountains out of molehills. Like, this is like, there isn't really much going on, dude. You just moved into a house. You thought it might have been haunted because the pipes were going off.
Yeah.
And your dog wrapped himself around the fence with his leash.
Yeah, that's the scariest part.
That's crazy.
I mean,
I'm sold. Can I buy this guy's book?
dogs are pretty dumb. Turner almost choked himself with the leash the other day. We're like in Highland Park.
Okay,
I
so
don't check on him.
I will. yeah. Take him to the.
Yeah, there's got to be like a little doggy therapist.
I will say stylistically, even though that little tip of the hat to Halloween was there, even looking at that, you're like, so the only part in the movie where there's a POV shot is in the opening, and then the whole rest of the movie isn't like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas Halloween, it keeps cutting back, at different points to where like. So even the kind of cool thing they did stylistically didn't even make sense for the rest of the film. Yeah, it was just like, hey, we liked Halloween. And they're like, cool. All right. There's also some heavy-handed parts that are meant to be, I think, more like, it's like, oh, foreshadowing. But like, maybe it's just because of the tone of the 2005 one. But like when the wife says, we'll have to make sacrifices. And then he goes, big ones. And then it like plays some ominous music and cuts to the next scene. And you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Like he's going to sacrifice his family or something.
Is that what he mean? That line rocked me, dude.
Yeah. You know what line got me in the first one?
He's going to murder his family.
When you say the first one.
I mean like the old one.
What
the original one.
We'll say 79, 2005 so people can.
Yeah, the 1979.
Or the OG
one. The OG one, yeah.
So these bozos can pay attention.
Yeah. Back in when he's like, houses don't have memories. I was like, whoa, all right, dude. Fucking bars. Relax.
Bars, bro.
I don't like this narrative that Zach's trying to create right now, honestly.
What's the new narrative?
I just feel like he's really harping on 2005, trying to expand the difference in quality.
Sure. Let me read you a line from the 2005 film that's not in the 1979 one. Houses don't kill people. People kill people.
That's a great line.
That's a great line.
I remember thinking after I heard that, I was like, you know what?
Bars.
Yeah, whoever wrote that was like, this is going to change minds.
Because they really don't.
No, they don't.
And it makes me think, like...
Unless your house fell on you.
It is a very
NRA, right?
It's a very Long Island take.
Yeah.
Houses don't fucking kill people. Yeah. I can buy as many houses as I want.
You want this house, you're gonna have to fucking pry from my golden eggs.
Well, look at it. It starts a conversation. It starts a dialogue. Yeah. And I think that's what the movie wanted to do. And this movie definitely wants you to talk afterwards about it.
Yeah, you can't afford a house? That's the fucking cost of freedom.
A house could kill you, though, to be fair.
It could. Yeah.
I gotta say, the most glaring comparison between the two films for me, the thing that is the starkest contrast,
was the year they were made.
Is The Babysitter.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It literally is the prime example of the two different tones of the film, right? The Babysitter in the first one, it was a little bit.
She was a fucking nerd, dude.
It was a little bit on the nose, right, with the nerd thing, right? Yeah. Like she's got the headgear, mouth guard, and like the wire one and everything.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there really isn't like a whole lot of character to her. They're just like, oh, she's just like a nerdy teenager, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the 2005 version, she's literally like, it looks like the beginning of a porn.
Oh yeah.
She's hot. Yeah, she walks in, the kid's like, I don't need a babysitter, I'm 13. And then Ryan Reynolds looks down and like, as she takes her jacket off and exposes the fact that she has on, I mean, it's not even close to a full shirt. It's her entire midriff with low-rise jeans, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, she's basically like showing her body from like crotch to underboob. And then Ryan Reynolds leans down and goes, you sure you don't want a babysitter now?
Oh,
he's like, and he's like, nah, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
Oh man, what a parent!
20 that gets some fucking biz in this fucking place.
But I feel like it's almost like that's a perfect metaphor for these two films. The first one's like trying to present you with a character that you'll feel bad if she gets stuck in the closet because she seems so nerdy. Right?
Yeah, I feel like that part was written by the Long Island guy.
Yeah,
they were like, hey, we're making a movie. You can pick one thing that you can do, and he's like, make the babysitter fucking hot.
Make the babysitter
You tell me.
You
Dude.
make her hot as fuck.
And then the 2005
Just like
one,
I remember her.
the 2005 one it's so like the height of exploitative of this story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, of course she would look like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
The only thing more exploitative than the 2005 version is the third movie, which is Amityville 3D.
Like a
Is it
Bud
3D?
Light commercial before the gays got to it.
Holy shit.
Bud Light 3D.
Yeah.
Was it the same babysitter in 3D?
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah, but that's a great idea.
She did try and kiss a 13-year-old, right? What you said? She
Yeah.
said teach him.
Oh yeah, and then she just comes in the house and immediately starts flirting with this like pudgy 13-year-old. You're like, what the fuck?
There's a lot of that movie that I like question ethically because that one scene made me uncomfortable where they were graphically fucking. Like there was like that was like pornographic to some degrees, and then the
I thought it was
little girl
passionate.
shows up with you know, and she's sitting at the foot of the bed. It's like I really hope that you know child actor was not in the room.
Yeah, that it was composited. Hopefully,
Yeah. I hope somebody was like, hey, we filmed these separately. Let's just not put the child in the room with the two grown adults fucking.
well, especially the hanging,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
which, by the way, no one
No one was hung except for Ryan Reynolds.
You know what you dig?
Well, and he was. I will say, though, the other guy, what was his name? Hot Bob Ross?
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, I know
He didn't. Ryan Reynolds didn't wear a shirt, but he didn't wear pants.
Yeah, that's right.
Because
That's right.
They knew what they brought to the table. I mean, and he was, I think, well endowed.
They
Correct me if I'm
they
wrong.
did show James Brolin in his underwear in whitey tighties multiple times. So
Yeah,
Can we roll a clip of him without the underwear? Let's see what he's working with.
that's back when tidy whities were attractive to women. Women were like, that's okay.
yeah. What was the norm?
Yeah, it was just clean.
They were
If
just
you
like,
wore
oh,
boxer briefs, they'd be like, "Why are you wearing shorts right now?" you
Yeah.
weirdo?
Yeah, well, you know, the white was a simple look. You know, it wasn't
yeah,
flashy.
Too much to it.
So the end of both of these films happens differently. The 79 version is based on, you know, once it gets to that fever pitch of he's gotten to the point where he's going to kill his family almost, and they're like, we need to stop this, right? We gotta escape. In the end of the 79 version, they basically wait till he snaps out of his little psychosis or whatever, and then they all get in the van and they drive off and they go back for the dog. Not only does the dog not get killed, they go back for the dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the last plot point.
And in the 2005 version, they don't have to go back for a dog because he's killed.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Reynolds, the only way they could stop him, he doesn't snap out of his psychosis. He's still crazy. She hits him in the head with the butt of the shotgun and knocks him out, and then they hog tie him and put him in a boat, and then they drive off in the boat as if that's going to be some kind of viable option.
Right. Like they don't have to go back to dock.
You don't have to go back for your fucking car.
Yeah, right? Does this boat not... Is this river going to the ocean? I don't think so. You're going to have to circle back.
The house is like, I need my credit cards. So both movies end a little bit ridiculous. However, the 79 version is much closer to what they actually did, which is probably happened in the sense of they got a weird feeling and he was like getting a little extra on the abuse.
Yeah.
And then they just got in their van and moved across the country. So I think the message here from both these films is
Don't have a family.
don't have a family. They're bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you do have a family, leave.
Yeah, and then if you hurt
Yeah.
them, you get in trouble. It's a whole thing. Just don't have them.
Yeah. If you do, we should say this. Happy Father's Day.
Oh, yeah. This
Happy
is all about
Father's Day.
fathers.
I don't really think I took away anything from either one.
And
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like I learned anything from
Yeah.
those movies at all.
I'll be honest, I was a little cut above. I came into it with the mindset of, if I have a family, I won't murder them.
oh, that's nice.
I knew that from the get-go.
Yeah.
Something just clicked, you know. And right when I heard Ryan Reynolds start talking in that way, I was like, hey,
It's not worth it.
don't
Yeah.
do it.
Well, I learned that if you work out
Yeah.
too much, you might try to kill your family.
Really?
So, because he's shredded, you know.
Oh,
shredded.
that's true. And what was the other guy shredded?
Yeah, but if you don't work out enough, then you won't get a family.
Ooh,
That's true. Yeah,
Great
you gotta
point.
find that right. It's you gotta find the right amount. Yeah.
Balance. Just got to get good balance.
So our final review, watch the 1979 version so you can see a classic. The 2005 version, watch if you would like to see a terrible,
Yeah.
boring.
Look for the highlights of Ryan Reynolds with his shirt off on
Yeah.
YouTube, and
Yeah,
that's
you,
it.
you can pretty much watch it like porn. Just skip the dialogue, get to the action, and maybe stop for some Ryan Reynolds if you're into dudes. That's,
How old did you think that babysitter was? She had to be like 30.
Oh, in real life?
Yeah,
she
she's
was
like
like
30.
she was like 28 for sure.
Grown
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah. The 79 version is worth the watch.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a slow burn early on, but I think if you put yourself in the mindset of a audience in 1979
That's what. Yeah.
and go like, oh, this is really interesting, and try not to think about how this family made all this up to sell a book deal and potentially help a dude not get the death penalty.
Yeah. I think the OG one was more. I like that there was more like outside like help.
Yeah.
You know, with like the couple. And the lady is like, I'm
Yeah.
sensitive to these things.
Yeah.
She was.
It was an interesting thing.
There's more plot development
Yeah.
than just this family stuck alone. I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't even think anybody after the real estate agent and the priest,
The one priest. Yeah.
they're the only characters in the film. Is the
Yeah.
And the babysitter.
and the babysitter.
And the babysitter,
Yeah.
but they spent a lot of money on Ryan Reynolds, and the babysitter did it for practically for free.
She just did it for exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will kickstart my career. And she also just really wanted to kiss a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
MGM produced it, which is they're not known for horror past back in the day. So
Mm.
I think that was already a little writing on the wall. 2005, you would want Lionsgate was on the come up after Saw. That would have been the company to make a good version of this, probably
Yeah.
hire the right people. But
Well, good
yeah.
on MGM for giving it a shot.
Yeah.
And getting out of your comfort zone. Because sometimes we get boxed into that. And I think that's what I want people to take away from it. Don't be afraid to move into that new house.
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Yeah, especially if somebody's
And-
murdered in there. Fucking just get in there,
Yeah,
dude.
you don't have to care about horror.
You don't have to care
Just go
about
for the cash grab.
housing prices are ridiculous. So fucking get it, dude.
Yeah, dude.
You don't even think twice about the murder.
Ooh, that's how we fix the housing crisis. Everybody murder one person.
Yeah, everybody murder a person in their houses so the prices go down.
You're gonna have to take all that out.
That's like,
Bleep that.
Oh, it's inciting violence. You
Yeah.
can't do that.
yeah. It's like collective Thanos. It's like, it's just everyone just working.
That was a
on it.
bit. That was a joke.
We did
This is
it.
a joke. That's just a joke.
Well, anyway, thanks for joining us.
Oh, sorry.
Wrapping up.
Happy Father's Day.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Unless you don't deserve it, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you piece of shit. Unless you murdered your family, fuck you.
Yeah. And don't worry, when we loop around to Mother's Day, we'll tell a lot of them to go fuck themselves too.
Yeah.
But if
I
you're a
won't.
good dad,
I won't do it either.
Sean's dad's a good dad, right?
Ooh, what are we gonna
Sure.
watch for Mother's Day?
If you're a good dad,
Do Friday the 13th. We can do Psycho too. Anything?
we should do another contrast and compare one. So maybe the original Psycho to the
American Psycho.
Anne Heche 1999
Oh, okay.
Psycho. American Psycho is different.
I know that.
We got to go. I don't know when we're going to put this out, so it doesn't really make any sense to plug any dates right now.
If you
look
didn't
and see us
celebrate
anyway.
Father's Day, go celebrate it. But we'll try and have it out before. Or is that what we're plugging?
Sure.
Oh, also you had the comedy thing. Well, I just feel like go.
You know what?
Go.
Don't even come see us. Go see Sean's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
good dad.
Go see
Yeah.
your dad.
No, just
And
go
mine.
see your dad. Don't go see Sean's dad. Leave Sean's dad alone.
Well,
He seems like he's doing fine without.
Or
general.
do it. I don't know. Listen, just go see a dad.
Yeah.
so yeah,
Find out
somebody's
that.
dad.
Go see your dad.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. I'm Zach Bennett.
Rey Reyes.
And Sean Dolan.
Follow us on all the stuff. You know where it's all at. There's no need to say all.
I'm going to put it on the bios and comments and shit. So
yeah, so follow us on all the stuff. And
but you got to click on it, you piece of shit.
Yeah,
Don't be lazy. Don't be lazy.
Like, share, subscribe, follow, all that. And if you have any suggestions for movies you'd like us to talk about, or contrast and compares, or originals and remakes, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, and if you got questions or you want us to talk about a certain movie, we don't have an email right now, but you can do rayreyesentertainment@gmail.com. Send it there. Let me know if you want us to do anything, and I'll just tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It reminds me, if you don't like this, comment how you don't like it, and we'll tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I don't mind getting into a very long thread online about whatever the fuck we said. I'll defend whatever I said to tooth and nail until I don't want to anymore.
He has zero life. It's this and stand up.
I let everyone get to me. It's insane.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Man getting bit by an alligator and screams.
Swallow this.